Hi again, it's Marcy from Rising Sun Yoga and Wellness. Today's props you're going to need, well, besides something to be sitting on, will be a block. Remember, get that book out, that thick book if you don't have a block, and a couple of pillows for your head when we're lying on the side. We're going to want to be able to adjust them so that our head isn't coming up too high, nor is it dropping down too far. You can also use the blanket that you're sitting on or use a blanket to fold it up so you can get just the right height. You do not need a mat for this practice. Throughout the practice, though, I will sometimes lie this way and sometimes lie this way so that you can get the best view to see what I'm doing. So if you would please, let's all begin by lying long on our mats. I would invite you to lie in what is called Shavasana, or corpse pose, where the shoulder blades are slightly tucked in towards the spine. The feet are about so far apart. The chin is slightly lower than the forehead. And then if you would please begin by scanning the body from the head to the toes, noticing what you notice. Now if you remember, this practice focuses a lot on trying to see what's happening to the body from the inside out. It's not necessary that you're able to sense all the differences and the nuances in your body, but we want to develop that way of seeing from the inside out, seeing from our soma. The new term for it is interoception. We want to be able to sense what our bodies are doing, sense how our bodies are feeling, notice if our bodies are in pain or tight or stiff. Starting with the top of the head. Let's move down the back of the head, into the neck, into the shoulders, inviting the shoulders to release and relax into the floor more. Noticing if they both feel like they're making equal contact with the ground, or if we can feel a difference between one side and the next. Moving down through the back, down, down, into our hips. Again, noticing how they're lying there. Coming through the legs and into the feet. Even noticing how our feet are flopping open. Is one foot dropped further out to the side than the other? These are the things that we need to pay attention to and notice in the practice. And then just pay attention to the breath. Noticing first your natural breath. And then see if you can draw the breath all the way down into the belly, letting the rib cage quiet. If it's hard for you to sense this in your body and know what you're doing, you can feel free to place a hand on your chest and a hand on your belly to help with this sensing. If you're able to feel that already, you don't need to do that. And just see if you can breathe in through the nostrils, into the belly, allowing the chest to be quiet. And then see if you can allow the belly to be quiet and have only the chest move. Again, if you need to, place your hands on the belly and on the chest so that you can feel what's happening. See if you can only have that chest moving and have the belly quiet. If you can't do it, that's fine. Just notice. Now that I would ask that you bring your attention to the lower rib cage. And even place your hands on the lower rib cage. I'm going to ask that you try as much as you can to leave the belly and the chest as quiet as is possible into as much as you can. Inhale wide into the sides of the lower rib cage, and then exhale from here. Really, really getting into moving and expanding that diaphragm, and then releasing the diaphragm. Once you find that movement, you can bring your arms back down to the side and continue. Now, if you found this breath, you're able to move the rib cage wide. This lower portion as you inhale. We're going to move into intercostal breathing, which is trying to just get some movement in between the ribs themselves, into the muscles between them. So the next time that you do that long, slow, deep, wide breath, right there in the rib cage, and you exhale, instead of letting it collapse, I'm going to ask you to try to hold that rib cage wide and expanded. And then continue breathing, but breathe with the rib cage wide. When you complete the next one, allow the rib cage to contract again. Do a couple more of these wide breaths in the lower rib cage. And then I would invite you on the next breath to try to breathe into the belly, filling the belly's capacity, up through this lower part of the rib cage, allowing it to grow wide, then up through the chest, allowing it to expand. This is called the full yogic breath. Doing all of this through the nostrils if you're able, and then just allow that breath to release out of the body and repeat. Inhaling, first allow that belly to expand, then allow the rib cage to widen, finally allowing that chest to lift. And with that exhalation, that long, slow release. And then repeating. Inhaling into the belly, the middle of the body, at the side of the lower rib cage, and finally up into the upper part of the chest. And then allowing it all to release with the exhalation. Let's do this a few more times on your own. And if you would please just return to your natural breath, noticing any shifts or changes that may have occurred just by paying attention to the breath in this way. And then taking your feet one at a time and bringing them onto the mat. An effortless resting pose or easy resting pose. Have the feet about a hip width apart, making sure the knees aren't dropping out or falling in towards each other. Noticing the weight distribution between the heels and the balls of the feet. Noticing the chin just slightly tucked. And then press through the feet, lifting the bum up just a bit off the floor and allow it to sink down onto the mat nice and wide. And then begin with some gentle arches and flattens in the body. Rolling the hips and the pelvis forward to the towards the ground, towards your feet. And then pausing, slowly allowing them to release. And then roll the opposite direction. Please remember, in all this work, there should not be any pain. And always remember that this is a practice of honoring our bodies. It's a practice of self-love. So we really want to listen to what our body is telling us. And only move within that range of motion, only as far as the body wants us to move. And then if you'd like to have go a little deeper with this, on your next flatten, you can allow the fronts of the shoulders to float up towards the sky above. And as you go down and release, back into that arch, you can allow those shoulders to press down into the mat below, really feeling that arch expand up the spine. Consider continuing on with this small, slow movement in the body. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper with that, you can lace the fingers together and bring them back behind the head. The next time you go into the arch, press the back of the head into the hands. And as you release and go into the flatten, allow that head to just float up an inch or two. And release. And go back into that arch. And then release. Going back into that flattening and then curling up motion. You can feel free to go deeper into the curl, but only go as deeply as your body is asking you to go, no further. I can force my body to go much deeper than I am, but if I'm honoring my body, that's the truth of the movement in my body today. Now the elbows, as you go into the curl, can be wide out to the side, or they can be up closer to the head. It doesn't matter. You just go with what feels good in your body. Release the arms. Allow the legs to grow long again. Notice any shifts. Maybe your body just feels more energized and tingling. Maybe it feels more relaxed on the mat. Don't judge how it's feeling, just notice how it's feeling. And then if you want to, you can bring your knees up and give yourself a little hug. Roll the back out. Move your body however it needs to move. And just allow your legs to grow long again, lying on the mat. We're next going to do some leg inversions and eversions. If you'd like to look for a moment, I'd like to demonstrate a couple of different ways of doing it. One is actually sitting up like this with the feet a bit apart. More comfortable for most people, but not always. In case your back is sore or something, that might not work. But it's to lie long on the ground with the feet up in the air. So when we do the leg inversion and eversion, it'll look like this in the body. Now, this version, or sitting up is a good option if your back has been really sore and it's hard to lie down for long. Lying long is good for a lot of people. But if you have the mobility and if you are able to do it, I would encourage you to do this with the legs up against the wall. Now I'm going to talk you through it with my legs up against the wall, but if your legs are long on the ground, that's fine. When the legs are up against the wall, when the legs are long, all I can say is that it feels more like gravity is holding the legs, the whole length of the legs down. When they're up against the wall, the legs sink down into the hip sockets more, and on one hand it makes it, for me, much easier to do the work, and at the same time I get way more releases when I do it that way, because my foot, my whole leg is really able to really access that movement better in my body. And so so I would just encourage you to do what works best for you. You can have your bum in as close to the wall as you want to if you're doing it this way, or as far away as you wish. At any point in time your legs are tired up there, you can bring them down like this to take a break, or down like this to take a break. So with the legs nice and long, or either up against the walls, let's first draw our attention to the right leg, and just allow that foot to rotate externally away from the left leg. If you're on a mat, it's like you're trying to draw your toes down to the right edge of your mat. Or if you're up against the wall, on a mat, it's as if you're drawing them over towards the direction of the right side of the mat. Then pause there, and then slowly allow that foot to release. And then allow it to roll internally towards the left leg. Pause and release. Coming back upright. Now if you're lying on your back, it's pretty easy when you're lying with your legs up against the wall to have the toes pointed upright. If you're lying flat on your back and your legs are long in front of you, you want to have both sets of toes pointing upright as your neutral position. So after you do the right leg, just repeat with the left leg, allowing it to roll gently away from the body. And then slowly releasing. Coming back upright. And then rolling internally towards that right leg. Releasing. And then repeat on the right side. We're going to go back and forth between these two legs a few times. I like to alternate them. It's a great practice to first do one leg for a while and work with it, and then do the opposite leg and compare in between, growing quiet and noticing the changes. But I find that I don't always seem to be able to judge the amount of time I'm doing the movements as well that way. So to keep it nice and balanced, I just alternate. Really, really pay attention to the movement of the leg and that hip socket. And then complete the set that you're on. So that your legs feel even. And then if you need to, you can hug your knees to your chest, but let your legs grow long then. And notice any shifts or changes that you feel in your body from having done that bit of work. Knocked my drink over. So now I'm going to ask you to get that blanket or that pillow that I asked you to get before. And we're going to continue on with the side curl. When we do the side curl, we're going to roll on our side. If you have a mat, you'll want to stack your knees on the edge of the mat. We want to look like we're sitting in a chair with more of a 90-degree angle. We want to be aware of not letting our shoulders drop backwards like that or rolling forward. It can be hard to sense, and if it's a challenge for you, you can get a larger pillow and put it behind your back so you have a little bit of something to sense behind you, or you could even lean up against a couch or a wall with the back of your body. But lying in this position, if you put your top arm long, also, let's pause here for a second, check in with your body. I know I have an issue going on in my right arm and the right side of my body, so I am choosing to start with my left side upright because my left side is moving more easily at the moment, and so because of that, it'll be easier to do on my left side first. The right side will pay attention to that and actually learns from that movement, so it makes it easier to do it on the side that I'm having some challenges with at the moment. So if you're having a side that is a little more achy or not moving as well or something at the moment, don't start with that side. So having the top arm long on the top of the body, begin by taking that shoulder and drawing it all the way up towards the ear as far as you can, and really holding that contraction and holding that contraction, and then slowly allowing that to release back to neutral. And then take this shoulder and draw it down towards the hip, just as far as it can go, and pause and release back to neutral. Now if you want to, you can take that bottom hand and place it here on the side of the body, because the muscles we are really wanting to draw the shoulder down with are located right here. They're called the obliques. So if you're able to, pay attention to them, maybe tap them a little bit with your fingers, and you can actively engage those muscles if you're able to, drawing the shoulder towards the hips with those muscles, and pausing, and then releasing. So having that hand there can maybe help you find access to those muscles. But if you can't, no problem. Just focus on it being a motion of moving the shoulder down towards the hip. So just go in and out of here a few times. Now, on your next one, I'm going to ask you first to put your hand on top of your hip right here. Because I just want you to be able to see if you can feel the movement of the hip. This is really hard for a lot of people to do. Their hips have grown quite quiet over the years. And if yours have, that's okay. Let's start first by moving the hip here, by allowing this foot to come up an inch or two, pivoting on that knee. Notice how you can feel movement in the hip right there, and then pausing, allowing the foot to come down. Feeling the hip release. Now on the next one that you do, if you want to, you can let the arm grow long a bit and give that arm a rest. And then I'm going to ask you to really pay attention to listening to your body again and what your body is asking from you. So pay attention to that foot. And this time really try to control it. Only come up an inch or two. And then come back down. Again, feeling the movement of the hip. Now, if you notice when your foot's coming up that it's shaking a lot like that, or that it's bouncing and you don't have much control over it, don't lift the foot very high. We want to do it with control. So just come up a bit. And come back down. I'm just going to invite you to work with this a bit on your own in your body. Noticing how it feels. Find that the movement's mostly smooth, but there's one spot that's a little troublesome. You can actually just go in and out of that space a bit, seeing if you can gain more control over the movement. Now allowing the foot to grow quiet, if you want to place your hand back up on your hip, that would be great. This time I'm going to ask you to see if you can actually roll that hip in, leaving that foot quiet. And then allow it to release. Now again, you may not be able to find that movement. If you can't find the movement, I want you to visualize in your mind what it would be like to do that movement. And imagine yourself actually doing it even if you can't. Science has shown that the body gains benefits from doing that. You can let the arm grow long when you're ready. Just allow the body to move from the movement of the hip. All right. Now I'm going to ask you to draw your attention to the shoulder and the hip at the same time. And we're going to move the hip up towards the shoulder and the shoulder down towards the hip. And we're going to do it by allowing our foot to float up to move the hip as the shoulder comes down, noticing how that changes the movement. And then allowing them both to release together. You want to try it a couple of times, leaving the foot quiet and just moving the hip upwards as the shoulder comes down. Please, by all means, do so. Now, if you'd like a little bit more sensation, take that top arm and that hand and bring it over the top of the head so it's near or on top of the ear that's on the bottom of the head. And this time, as you float that foot up, allow that head to come up too, going into a little bit of a curl on the side of the body. And then allow it to slowly release. I actually like to try to do a breath in between each one before I re-engage. Now, if you're finding movement in the hip on its own without moving the foot, I would encourage you to try one or two just by rolling the hip up and allowing that head to come up with the hand. If that's too high of a load for you, by all means, don't do that. Do it in whatever way works best for your body. And allow your arm to release from over the top of the head and the arm to grow long on the side of the body again. And then take that hand and place it on top of the other hand. Check the stacking of the shoulders. And then allow that arm to float up towards the sky. Keeping that body stacked on the side, then bending at the elbow to bring the hand to the front of the shoulder. And then from there, allowing the shoulder to roll backwards towards the floor behind, twisting the spine, opening as far as your body's able to, even allowing that knee to come up off the ground. When you get as far as your body is able to open today, you can roll that head back and forth a bit from side to side. And then allow that elbow to come back up towards the sky, opening the hand back up and bringing the arm back down. And then repeat once more on your own, and then I would invite you please to lie on your back and notice the shift between the right side and the left side. Sorry about that. Those of you who don't take classes with me, I have very bad allergies. So I usually am sucking on a cough drop and drinking something when I teach to help prevent coughing. So apologies. You'll probably feel that the one side of the body that you've already worked with feels longer than the other side of the body does. And I'm going to ask you to roll over onto the other side of the body and stack it up. Again, remembering to have your body stacked as if you're sitting on a chair, and also trying not to let your shoulder drop forward or backward. And let's start again by drawing that elbow all the way up towards our ear as far as we can, holding it, and then long, slow release. And then drawing our shoulder down towards our hip. And releasing back to neutral. And repeating a few times. And then if you would please draw the attention once again to having the knees together and allowing that foot to float up just an inch or two and then float back down towards the ground. If you want to, you can put your hand on your hip to notice the rolling of the hip at the top from this movement. Just moving in and out of this position. And if you'd like to, place your hand on your hip, please. And see if you can just roll that hip up and then release that hip without the movement of the foot. Release your hand whenever you want. Now let's put those together, drawing the shoulder towards the hip and the hip up towards the armpit by moving the foot to move the hip, making it C curve in the side of the body, and slowly releasing. And repeating. And if you would, please see if you can leave the foot quiet and find any movement in that hip, drawing it up towards the armpit while that shoulder comes down towards the hip. And releasing. And then if you'd like to grow the movement, bring the hand up over the head, again near the ear or over the ear. And this time, lifting the foot. You can bring that shoulder and elbow towards the hip and the hip up towards the shoulder. Pausing. Slow, slow release. Repeating. And then allow the hands to come together in front of the body. And allow that arm to float up towards the sky, straight up, like it's a half of a T. And then bend at the elbow. Allow the body to roll backwards in another twist. Allowing that knee to come up if it wants. Allowing the head to roll once the body is open. And then allowing that elbow to come back up. The hand to float back up. And then the arm to float down. Take a pause. And then repeat once more on your own. When you complete it, remove the pillow from under the head and allow the body to grow nice and long once again, sensing any new shifts. Then if you're able to, I would ask you to roll onto your right side and push yourself upright. And we're going to come to a standing position. Keep that bottle out of the way so I don't knock it over again. Now, this will be the time that you're going to need your block. We're going to put the block by a wall. If we don't have a wall, we'll do a chair, but I'll show you that in a moment, so that you're standing on the block with the leg dangling in between and the hands supporting you on the wall. So if you have a chair available instead, so you can see what we're doing, I'll do it this way. Foot stands on. Now, we don't want our hips dipping down like that, so try to keep the hip neutral. And First, we're just going to do a few small circles with the leg. And then we're going to draw that knee up just as high as you can. Again, thinking of sitting in a chair. And then slowly let that leg release. And then allow that leg to grow long behind, lifting up behind the body. Coming back down. Again, knee bent, lifting up. Slowly releasing. And then lifting behind. Now in this one, I want you to pay attention to this little spot where the ribs come up and connect. They're at the sternum, which is that center part of the rib cage. And there's a little tiny spot down there called the xiphoid process. It's a little bone. But I want you to draw your attention right to that area. And the next time that you draw that knee up, I want you to deliberately draw that towards your pubic bone and crunch those muscles so that you're actually tightening all the muscles through the abdomen, drawing that down, lifting the knee up, and then slow release from the front of the body, allowing that leg to grow long behind again. Repeat one more time. Come off your block, and I would invite you to turn around the opposite direction. This time, the other foot will be on the inside. So again, just allow leg to roll around in little bitty circles, and then allow that knee to bend, coming up as high as you can, in a 90-degree angle if possible, but if not, just as high as you can go. Slow release, and then lengthening long and lifting behind. Repeating. And this time, as you come up, remember, draw the attention here, engaging the muscles down through the center of the body, drawing that down towards the pubic bone. And then slowly releasing those muscles as the leg comes long and floats up behind. Let's do that one more time. Drawing down, engaging all these muscles through here. Long, slow release. And then just for a moment, allow the arms to swing back and forth to the front. And then allow the body to roll back and forth on the sides. then I'm going to ask you to bring one hand on your hip. Bring the other arm up. Remember how we've been working with the side of the body? Let's do a side bend, one direction. And if that's too much, your arm doesn't have to go up. I'm not going to lift my arm on the other side because that's my arm. It's a little bit sore right now. So I'm just going to get the bend in this direction. And then I'm going to repeat. Coming back down into a seated position. Propping your bum again for a bit so you feel comfortable. I'm just going to ask you to place, if you're able to, one hand on the, so we'll start on this side, one hand on the floor, and maybe walk out. Lift that arm up and take a bend. Maybe even turn your head and look up towards the sky. Maybe even doing a little bit of a rotation in the upper part of the chest. But allowing yourself to bend over as far as you can. Come back up. Again, twisting over on the other side, maybe rotating the shoulder back a bit, opening the chest and lifting the head, but feel free to just stay in a more neutral position if you choose. And bending over. And come back upright. Now, if you would please, I would ask you to lie long for your final relaxation. So lying down on the ground, you can get a blanket and you can use that rolled up underneath your knees as you're lying long to be a little bit of a prop. Or you can use a blanket or a pillow for your head to, it's a little bit of, to relax more. Got an eye mask, that's really lush. Just get yourself comfy on the ground, nice and long. If it's a little much for you to lie on your back for too long of a period of time, you can lie on your side. Feel free. Just get comfy. I'm going to cover up a bit. So if you're lying nice and long, relaxed in your body, just allow your body to relax, the weight of your body into the floor. Notice how the body makes contact with the floor. Relax the back of your legs, the back of your hips, your lower back, middle back, and upper back. Relax the back of your shoulders, the back of your arms, the back of your neck, and the back of your head. Make any adjustments you need to relax the body into the ground more fully. And just allow your body to relax into the ground completely. Relax the muscles of your face. Relax your eyes and your forehead. Relax your temples and cheeks. Relax your mouth and jaw. Relax your whole face. Feel the rise and the fall of your belly as you breathe. Notice each inhalation as it enters the body and each inhalation as it exits the body. Let your breath be soft, full, and easy, effortless. Allow the body to be breathed. As you inhale, say silently in your mind, let. And as you exhale, silently say, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Let. Go. Let. Go. Continue to observe the breath, letting the body sink deeper and deeper into relaxation. Let your arms rest by your side. As you exhale, make a soft fist with each hand. And as you inhale, relax the fist. And let your hands remain softly curled and relaxed, allowing the body to sink deeper and deeper into the floor. Now bring your awareness to your feet. Feel the soles of your feet and all 10 toes. Imagine that you could inhale and exhale through the soles of your feet. Imagine the breath entering the body through the soles of the feet and exiting the body through the soles of the feet. Inhale and exhale. Now bring your awareness to your hands, feeling the backs of the hands, the palms of the hands, and all 10 fingers. Imagine that you can inhale through the palms of your hands. Imagine the breath entering the body through the palms of your hands and exiting the body through the palms of your hands. Inhale, exhale. Now bring your awareness to your belly, feeling the belly rise and fall as you breathe. Imagine that you can inhale and exhale through the belly button. Imagine the breath entering the body through the navel and filling the belly. And imagine the breath exiting the body through the navel. Inhale, exhale. Now allow your mind to relax more deeply below the awareness of the breath. Let the mind relax below the level of concentration on anything, including the breath. Let the body and the mind let go. Let go. I am filled with quiet joy for no reason save the fact that I'm alive. The message I receive is clear. There's no time to lose from loving, no place but here to offer kindness, no day but this to be my true, unfettered self and pass the flame from heart to heart. This is the only moment that exists. So simple, so exquisite, and so real. Dana Falls. And allowing the toes to wiggle and the fingers to move and the ankles and the hands to roll. The ankles to roll the feet and the wrists to roll the hands. Just hug your knees up to your chest and roll the back out. And allow the body to stretch nice and long in any direction it needs to. And then hugging the knees back up to the chest again. If you're able to, please roll on to the left side of the body in this curled up position. Take a few breaths here, engaging the right nostril. And then gently push yourself back upright into a seated position. May all beings find happiness. May all be free of disease. May all see what is auspicious. May no one suffer. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you awaken to the light of your own true nature. May you be healed, and may you be a source of healing for all beings. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.